There's a lot of Jimmy G fans out there. Okay, Jimmy G fans are almost as annoying as Tua fans. But at least Tua is 3-0. Can we please, I'm begging all of you, especially Jimmy G fans, can we please put the notion to bed that Jimmy Garoppolo led the 49ers to the Super Bowl a few years ago, and that a season ago he led the 49ers to the NFC Championship game? Can we please put that to bed? I'm begging you guys. He is the very definition of an average quarterback. I still think Jimmy G is a starting quarterback in the NFL, no question about it. Okay, before Trey Lance went down, Jimmy G was far and away the best backup in the league. But when you have to count on him to make those big throws, that is not his forte, not his strength. The thing with Jimmy Garoppolo that's interesting, because I tweeted last night, I feel like he's a better version of Baker Mayfield. I'd take Jimmy Garoppolo over Baker Mayfield any day of the week. But today, a lesser version of Ryan Tannehill. Like, that's what he feels like today. Like, Ryan Tannehill, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan Tannehill may have made a Pro Bowl. Jimmy G sure hasn't. Can I put up his playoff numbers once again to sort of drive home? I've done this before. I hate to beat up on Jimmy G, but can I put up his playoff numbers? People say he's led the 49ers to the Super Bowl and to the NFC Championship game last season. Does that look like leading to you? 160 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, 6 picks. Completion percentage under 65 and a below average passer rating. Does that look good to you? And I won't even list it today, but if you really want to know how good Jimmy G is, look at his fourth quarter passer rating in the playoffs. It's not very good. He is an average quarterback. You look at his numbers last night. And Denver's got a great defense. We knew before the season Denver's got a tremendous defense. But I don't think they're good enough to hold a guy to a QBR of 14. You've got Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, a great running game, a great offensive line, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, and you score 10 points. With Kyle Shanahan as your offensive play caller. He's an average quarterback, guys. People forget. I think it's worth mentioning. When the Niners were going to go with Trey Lance for this season, Trey's our guy. Remember Kyle Shanahan said Trey's our guy? And they had Jimmy Garoppolo in the trade market. Guess who lined up to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Nobody. That's why he's still a 49er today. Nobody wanted to trade for Jimmy G. It's just like in Cleveland. Outside of the Panthers, nobody wanted to trade for Baker Mayfield. And why was Trey Lance even a 49er? Look, just like I tweeted last night, put it all over social. I don't know how good Trey Lance is going to be. You guys know I loved him out of the draft. Not as high on him now. Problem is we don't really know. He's barely been on the field. Be that as it may. However good or bad Trey Lance may or may not be, are we seeing now why the 49ers traded all those first-round picks to move up to get the third overall pick to take Trey Lance, despite having Jimmy G in the building? You see why they did that? He's average. He's not going to take you to the promised land. If last night, folks, was ever an example of how important having a franchise quarterback is, you got two squads in Denver and the 49ers. Immensely talented, offensively and defensively. Difference is, one guy has Kyle Shanahan. The other guy has Nathaniel Hackett. Guess who won the game? Guess who led that last drive? Jimmy G had 2 chances. Couldn't get it done. You say, well, that last drive, the running back fumbled after Jimmy G got sacked at his own 2-yard line. Put him in bad position. He doesn't move well in the pocket. He's got an average arm at best. Folks, the 49ers probably should have scored 30 last night. Jimmy Garoppolo had Deebo Samuel wide open twice, back-to-back drives. Deebo Samuel is going to walk in the end zone. Okay, the first one, Deebo Samuel just runs a go route on the right side. I mean, there's not a Bronco within 10 yards of him. He is wide open, and Jimmy G doesn't even look his way. He's the classic one-read quarterback, which in year 9, that shouldn't be the case, but it is. He looks his first read, and that's where he's going. He predetermines, I am throwing the football here. He does that more than any quarterback that I've seen. Certainly any great quarterback I've seen in the league. And then the second drive, Deebo Samuel again, wide open down the left sideline. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going to get about 60 yards and put him in position to score a touchdown. Jimmy G's got him wide open and badly underthrows him. Deebo Samuel has to stop mid-route and almost like fair catch, just wait for it to fall in his hands before Bronco tackles him on the sideline. And did you see Deebo's reaction? He got up and just kind of had a big grin like, golly, if he just hit me on the run, I'd have scored. It's twice now. It's kind of like that laugh or smile so you don't cry type of thing. Like that's what it felt like from Deebo Samuel. That's why the 49ers traded all those first rounders to get the third pick last year. Because despite the fact that you think Jimmy G can win a Super Bowl with them, with that talented roster, not even they do. I don't know if Trey Lance is the guy. Today, doesn't look like it. But I know he's not the guy. Come on. Pulled a Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of his own end zone without even knowing where he is, literally taking 2 points and gifting them to the Broncos. And guess what? That safety ended up being the difference in the football game. Broncos won by 1, safety 2 points. That's the difference in the game right there. One play. He missed Deebo Samuel twice. He was completely immobile in the pocket. He is an average quarterback. I think the Niners are going to make the playoffs. They're 1-2. No need to panic. Next week, the Niners got the Rams. Okay, so maybe there's a little time to panic, okay? But listen, Kyle Shanahan's won 6 of his last 7 matchups against Sean McVay. And the Niners at home. Who's to say the Niners can't win that game? That's Monday Night Football next week. That'll be a great one. Okay, and then after that, you got Panthers, Falcons. They should win both those games. Then you got a Super Bowl rematch against Kansas City. But that game is in San Francisco. At Rams, Chargers, Cardinals, Saints, Dolphins. Then he finished with Tampa, Seahawks, Commanders, Raiders, Cardinals. So again, pretty tough schedule moving forward. But you should be able to win enough of those games to get yourself in the playoffs. You should. Niners get in the playoffs. But again, I will put up, let me go and put up the numbers again, the playoff numbers from Jimmy Garoppolo. There they are. Okay. 160 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, 6 picks, 61% completion, 74.1 passer rating. But he has a record of 4-2, and that's what everybody points out. Always won 70% of his games, although that changed last night. Now he's won under 70% of his games. He's got a winning record in the playoffs. Yeah, have you checked the 49ers rushing stats in those games? Have you checked Jimmy G's stats in those games? I mean, barely threw the ball against the Vikings. Really, Jimmy G's best playoff game was his first playoff win against the Minnesota Vikings a few years ago. Played pretty well in that game. NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers. You know how many passes he threw? He threw 7 more than you and I did. And then this past playoff run, Niners got the game in the bag against the Dallas Cowboys. They're up 23-10, 7 minutes to go. They're running the football right down Dallas's throat. Dallas is committing stupid penalty after stupid penalty. And what does right on cue? I swear to you, I'm watching the game with my sister who's a big Packer fan. I said, Jimmy G's going to give us the ball back. Jimmy G's going to make a mistake. Right on cue, throws a pick, rolling out to his right, badly overthrows the receiver, throws a pick to Anthony Brown, and the 49ers win that game by the skin of their teeth. Then the next game against the Packers, the game that they say, oh, we outdueled Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was garbage in that game. He wasn't as bad as Jimmy. Just because Jimmy won the game didn't mean he outplayed him. Yeah, he had one nice drive. But the special teams score more touchdowns in the offense. The special teams on a blocked punt with 3 minutes left in the game scored the only touchdown. Jimmy G threw a bad red zone interception. He was off all night. And then in the NFC Championship game, we all know what happened. Niners got a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter over the Rams. It's Super Bowl 54 all over again against Kansas City. Everybody blamed the Niners defense. Everybody blamed that Tart kid who dropped the interception. Well, Rams scored to make it a 3-point game. Jimmy Garoppolo got the ball back. Oh, and he did nothing. Rams go down the field, kick the tying field goal. Niners get the ball back. Jimmy G gets the ball back. They do nothing. And then the Rams kick the field goal to take the lead with 2 minutes left. Niners get the ball back, and Jimmy G throws the game-ending interception. He's an average quarterback, folks. He's a starter, but he is an average quarterback on a tremendous roster with a tremendous coaching staff. You mean to tell me your defense gives up? The defense gave up 9 points because Jimmy G gave the Broncos 2. Defense gave up 9 points. Jimmy G gave up 2 because of the safety, and you can't win that football game against a Broncos offense that looks about as bad as one could look. You got to win that game. You got to win that game if you're the 49ers. But again, it goes back to what I've always said about Jimmy G. If you have to rely on him to win a game, if he has to be the biggest reason you're going to win a game, then you're not going to win the game. It's as simple as that. He's not in that group of great quarterbacks. I'm not even sure. Actually, I'm pretty confident he's not a franchise quarterback. He's not. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.